Hello and welcome to the Downshift. As in this episode, we will reflect on the last 3 days of testing and what that means for the opening race in Melbourne, discuss who surprised us, who's looking strong and who should be worried, and continue our head-to-head predictions as we lead into the start of the 2026 season as it's
Lights out.
Drop the clutch.
Let's get racing.
Hello and welcome to the Downshift. With the pre-season testing wrapping up in Bahrain, we are unpacking the second week of bombshells, from driver gripes to pecking order shake-ups, McLaren being the squad that has logged the most mileage, and some mind-bending innovations as it's the aeros that are stealing the headlines for the week, and debating whether these changes will make racing closer or just a little bit more chaotic, team.
Hopefully a bit of both.
Hopefully there's some good racing. There will be a lot of disappointed fans if there's not.
Well, how many drivers now have said tune in for the start of Melbourne? The first lap, the opening start, could be absolute chaos. Bring it on.
And so as we talk about the first race, hype is starting to build here in Melbourne, there in Melbourne. I'm not in town at the moment. Woohoo!
Yeah, don't claim that you're here.
Yeah. Traitor.
Yeah.
But as we can see, we've got the home race-ish as one of the murals around Melbourne have got Oscar Piastri sided by Valtteri Bottas and Liam Lawson. So
I'd just like to take a quick poll and find out who voted Liam in as the Australian part, because I'm pretty sure we're happy with the other two. Valtteri, awesome. Oscar, absolutely. But Punchy, not so sure. He can stay across the ditch.
Yeah. We got too many Kiwis elbowing their way into Australian motorsport at the moment. You have Scott McLaughlin, Kisbergen, Lawson. Anyway, well, we'll take Valtteri as our honorary Australian.
Head start.
Please direct all your emails to I'm a passionate Kiwi to at the downshift.com.au. I'll address them appropriately.
Attention,
Nathan.
That's right.
Kia ora. But as you'll note, I've actually donned some new apparel for this episode, given the fact that I'm supporting one of our local Aussies. So my wife almost fell over when the package arrived the other day. She said, "What? No more McLaren?" I'm still supporting Oscar, but I thought there's a struggling team out there who's had to invest $1.5 billion just to get into this sport. So they need,
struggling. Struggling, right? Okay, right.
So is that a cheap knockoff shirt or a legit one?
This is a legit one. So,
okay, so you supported the right cause, right?
I've ordered the knockoff ones. They got delayed from Chinese New Year. They'll be coming soon.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So as I looked at the knockoff website where I could have spent $10, I chose to.
Yeah. Don't say out loud what you spent, Christian. Don't say out loud.
No. Let's just say that my allowance has been cancelled.
Walking through Melbourne on the weekend, we went through the centre of Melbourne, and beautiful day out by the river, and had a good look at the track out over Albert Park there, and they already had F1 merchandise tents, a couple of them set up along South Bank by the river, and there's another store in town as well, and they were pretty busy, so people were already buying merch, and I did have official Cadillac and Audi merch there, so you didn't need to buy it from Temu. So
I did not buy mine from Temu.
Good to see. No? AliExpress, something like that?
There we go. That's the one. Yep.
I knew it'd be one of them.
So there you go, AliExpress. If you're looking for sponsorships, the Downshift is the place to go. So
buy authentic, support the team.
Yeah, buy authentic, absolutely. Yep. Support the struggling Formula One economy.
If you've been missing your Formula One, the buzz in Melbourne's the place to be right now.
Oh, it's definitely ramping up. Like you've noticed, it is starting to get excited. I've had more and more people actually ask me now, what do you think? Who's going to win? How's the first, session going to go in Melbourne? I'm like, well, just listen to the podcast. You'll be right.
There's more and more reels of them painting the green and gold stripes down the side of the track and the logo sponsors on the walls. It's all happening.
Yeah, the track is getting ready, that's for sure. And the weather's also been interesting. Like last year, we've had 30 degree days, 30 plus, and then the odd thunderstorm and heavy rain showers coming through. So we've got another day forecast tomorrow of thunderstorms and rain, and then the weekend's going to be hot and sunny again. So I don't know what we're going to hit when the Grand Prix comes, but it could be wet again. You never know.
I'll put
Hopefully
the
not.
the image of us up on the screen from last year where we were enjoying
no.
the beautiful Melbourne weather from the Grand
Oh.
Prix. It was wet, windy, and freezing cold, and so in the end, we all ended up going home to watch the race as opposed to shivering beside the track.
We were supporting Team Drowned Rat, weren't we?
Oh. That was a very unpleasant day.
Oh, it was horrible.
So, as Lockie was saying, we've got a lot of people very interested in regards to how the championship is going to shape up for the year. And so we finished up in Bahrain this week. I'm going to put the driver standings up on the screen here for those who are watching on YouTube. For those listening, we did have Charles Leclerc, who topped the pops with a 1 minute 31.992. And followed by Antonelli, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, and Russell in the top six as we then go down the order. So, very interesting few days, team. What were some of the big call-outs for you, Huppy?
Well, obviously Ferrari's fancy rotisserie wing was another big big discussion point around the place.
On the kebab.
And the kebab, yeah. We'll carve some lamb off that as he goes past down the main straight. No, I think like the Ferraris, the top four look strong. I think their long run pace will look pretty good. If we look at the lap times, Leclerc finished on top, but that lap was a bit of an outlier compared to everyone else. So they looked like the only team to really take some fuel out of the car and give it a real blast around, a bit of a quali sort of sim. So I don't know how low that fuel was. I don't know how high they were running the engine, but to be 8/10 clear of Antonelli in second, and his lap time is only about 2.1 seconds off the pole lap from Oscar in Bahrain last year. So that's pretty solid. You know, we have to assume that they wouldn't have been running flat out. They wouldn't have been running max engine mode, lowest fuel quality. So I thought the cars would be a little bit further off based on that. But yeah, interesting. And a lot of people got good mileage. The other thing I noticed was that Honda and Aston Martin are in a world of trouble. But Cadillac and the Audis seem to be doing okay. Like they're not at the front, but they're not as far back as some people thought they could have been.
And so, Lockie, you obviously is the passionate Audi supporter of the team. Your thoughts on how the team went for the week?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously we saw the change when they went from they changed their side pods from the initial shakedown testing to the Bahrain testing. But I'm actually surprised that they're as efficient and where they are at the moment. I thought they would be sort of further back where Aston Martin is, to be honest. But look, their run times have been good. It'll be interesting to see if they can transfer the speed and that they've got now into an actual long run at a Grand Prix, and whether they can then have that consistently without having any sort of major blow-ups or things like that. But look, I was quite impressed with them. And to be fair, I mean, probably the other one that really impressed me was Haas. I thought that their team and their run that they've been doing has actually surprised me. I thought they'd be further down the list than what they were. So yeah, that's probably the other one that's popped up out of the blue for me and gone, take notice. I mean, they're not going to be up the top, but as the mid-tier team, they're certainly putting their hand up to be, we want to be at the top of the mid-tiers. So
I think the two sets of drivers from testing who were most happy with the amount of knowledge they got and where they were from like a testing perspective was probably the two Haas drivers and the two McLaren drivers by the sounds of it.
And as we saw, Williams missed the Barcelona shakedown, rocking up at Bahrain. Schwags, should Williams be worried?
Well, looking at some of these numbers on this list, it's not looking very positive for them. I mean, we talked about Aston Martin being nearly 4 seconds off the pace, and obviously having some troubles with that Honda engine and the recharge, from what they say. But Williams is right down there with them. They're this is going to be another tough year for them, I think.
Well, when you think about it from the perspective that they finished P5 in 2025, now it looks as though they're battling for not to be last against Aston Martin with the Mercedes power unit as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would have thought that all the talk for the Mercedes power unit and McLaren, and Mercedes obviously, and who else has got the Alpine has that as well? Is that right?
Yep.
Others are making that engine work. So yeah, I don't know what Williams are doing, but could be another tough year for them.
I don't think they'd be sandbagging too much down there into the grid. But look, it looks like from the testing at least that the top 4 teams, so McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes, are ahead of the rest of the pack. And I think it'll be very difficult at the moment to pick out who looks the fastest. It could be any of them. They're all holding something back for Melbourne. And then you've got, I guess the midfield and the tail end of the pack. So we'll see if Williams can be sort of the 5th team. You never know. They've obviously got a lot of development to go, but geez, Aston Martin and that Honda engine, and rumours about poor energy recovery and deployment, and not being able to stress the engine too much, and they're legitimately 3.5 to 4 seconds off the pace by the looks of it. So I think that they're certainly not sandbagging in that car. I bet you they wish they were a lot further up the timing sheet than that.
It's not only
Yeah,
that, but it's also their lack of laps that they've been able to do to actually gather data as well. I reckon that'd be more
Reliability.
concerning for them than anything else.
Yep. So that's the team that probably has the most potential to gain the most time, obviously, but not just because they're so far back, but also because it's Adrian Newey designed car, and everyone expects it to be a great car and aero efficient and a winner. But it sounds like it's really power plant that's holding them back.
Yeah, and the word out of the camp from everyone, the drivers, the engineers, Adrian, is don't even worry about Aston Martin for the first half of the season. Judge us on what happens from the mid-season onwards. So they can see the hill that they've got to climb there. But I think we'll see that there'll be a battle between Alpine and Haas for the midfield, including Audi, which is quite impressive. And then you've got, understandably, Cadillac's further down the order, along with Racing Bulls and Williams. Now, it is worth mentioning, and now as we go into this season, about tyres, because while all the Ferrari faithful are getting all terribly excited and already starting to predict the win for 2026, we'd see that.
How'd that work out for you boys last year? Pretty well, or?
Do you know what? I'm not going to let them do it to me again. But what will happen is I won't pick them, and they'll come first.
That's right. Nathan will pick them.
Dan and I'll stick to our pulling out of the hat prediction. Seems to work just as well. Yep.
But yeah, so Charles got the fastest time, being ahead of Antonelli by 8 tenths. But he was on the C4 versus the C3, which the next 6 drivers were on. The C5 is the softest, down to the C1, which is the hardest. So essentially what we're looking at is, normally you'd see about a 3 to 5 tenth gap per compound, as the tyres stick to the road better. So as to whether or not it's a bit more, Pirelli is suggesting that they are actually broadening the gap between the tyre compounds to increase strategy for the races.
Regardless of the compounds, though, like it's still nearly impossible to tell where people really are after testing. And you've got the dark horses like Cadillac, who, for all we know, has never run light fuel yet. They just might have run heavy fuel the whole time, and they might come out and actually surprise a few people and not be second last to Aston Martin at Melbourne. We just don't know. So
that'll be Williams.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We've got to do some predictions later, don't we? So let's see.
Actually, do we want to pick the bottom 3 for Melbourne as well, just for the giggles? Or?
Why not? Any points will do.
How about second last and third last? That'll make it a bit more challenging.
Ooh. Okay, I'll take that.
So Pirelli have released their initial selections for the first 3 races. So we're seeing Australia with the softest compounds being the C3, the C4, the C5. Then for China, mid-range with C2, C3 and C4. And then Suzuka with the C1, C2, C3. And so as we're seeing the track dynamics, Happy, you mentioned last week about Melbourne being one of the toughest tracks for overtaking. So you need as much grip as possible to be able to get around that track and at speed. So we're seeing that there.
And we need bigger variations between compounds, like you were saying. Like there's not enough offset at the moment, and we've had some of the drivers come out after testing and say they reckon it's going to be harder to overtake in these cars. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be a really interesting start.
I heard it said, I think it might have been Hadjar was just overtaking at one point and sort of got part way through and then ran out of power or ran out of boost to get the job done, and took him a lot of efforts to get it done. So it's going to be disappointing if that's the case, because there was all this talk about there being better overtaking, more action. And so, it'll be disappointing if it doesn't sort of pan out that way.
We got quite a bit of onboard footage from the test where you can see cars will come out of the corner up through the gears quickly because they're on battery power, like obviously getting full beans down the straight. And then for the next straight or two, they're upshifting a lot slower because they've run out of that electrical power. So they have to manage it really carefully around the whole lap to get an overtake at all. Like, it'll be a real challenge, a really different sort of racing for the drivers.
Have they thought about putting solar panels on the car?
You're the second person I've heard say that.
Won't work for the night races though, Dan. Otherwise,
who
it's
was
a great
the other
idea.
idiot that said that? But the amount of bright lights they've got on there must do something.
Well, I think this is going to be an awesome challenge. Watching the drivers have to adjust to a new style of driving. It's like going from karting to all of a sudden jumping in F1. All the cars are now what you knew in the past. Put that aside. You now have to relearn how to drive these cars. Now, whether they like it, don't like it, I don't really care at the moment. I reckon it's going to take them a good 4 to 5 races to actually figure out, okay, if I'm going to drive this style, I'm only going to have X amount of power here, X amount of power there. So therefore, I need to just, even the way I'm taking the corner, the way I'm coming out of it, they're going to have to readjust all the way they style and drive these cars in order to maximize the new settings that they've got to work with.
I think there'll be a difference between the fastest way to get around the track for quali versus the best way to defend or the best way to overtake someone. I think there'll be 3 sort of different types of driving that drivers and engineers and teams will have to get used to. So you're right. I think it's just one more challenge for everyone this year.
And the start as well. Apparently that they're a bit trickier to get off the line.
Oh, wow.
Which is good. I mean, don't we want that? Like they're talking about making changes for the start, but like we want variability. We want someone to come from 10th to 3rd. Like it just adds a lot of excitement to Formula One. It was just getting too processional over the past couple of years.
Well, if you can't overtake anywhere, you might as well do it on the starting grid.
Exactly. You can win the race on the first corner, mate. That's it. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, look, I can just see the engineers from Aston Martin now at the back pushing the car to get it going.
Now they got that
Drop the clutch.
That little hand crank to get it going at the start.
They'll put the fan on the back like they had on the Brawn from years ago.
The challenge will be, and this is for Formula One media, is that with all the changes for your diehards, which are wanting to see some variability and some strategy to the races, that it doesn't frustrate or bore the new punters that are coming in, because not understanding these changes, seeing cars which are not getting the speed out of corners and the like, it may bore some of the new watchers coming to Formula One. And so therefore that's where that fine balance to make sure that we're still providing that speed, that spectacle, along with the challenges that they're facing with power management and getting around the track.
Do you think there's a big risk this year for F1 if they're going, a lot more battery focused? And Max made the comment about it being leave the electric stuff to Formula E and let the Formula One cars do the proper racing or the ICU racing. Is F1 a risk of, I don't know, not making it the premium and ultimate racing series?
I think if they keep going down the path of increasing electrical power and reducing engine power, yes, but I think it will be many, many years before the fan base would be happy to see the sound of the engines disappear or heavy reliance on electrical power. Like so many of us have grown up with the V10s and V8s and the noise, and that's part of the experience. Like, it's a visceral experience when you go and watch Formula One cars get around a racetrack. So I would hope that Formula One keeps doing that, and engines are the main component of what propels the car rather than electric motors. But yeah, I think I agree with you, Christian. Though I think there'll be a lot of gloss, all the glossy stuff, new regs for the first round or two, and like Ferrari's new wing and different aero concepts and whatever. But the risk after that is that there's too much of a gap between cars and the racing is boring. So from what we've seen in testing, I think at least the top 4 teams should be pretty close on track, I would hope. The rest might get spread out quite a bit. Like, the Verstappens and Landos and whatever might be lapping Astons and Cadillacs pretty quickly in the race. But as long as there's good track action and people are battling and there's an unknown result, that's what we all want to see. We don't want to see one team streaking away, winning by 40 seconds. And then hopefully we're not going to see that.
Well, the other thing is F1 could get the advertising company that did that ad for NASCAR that we saw the other day,
and
cracking
it,
juice it up a bit, because that was a great ad that we saw for NASCAR with flamethrowers and doing massive burnouts and all that. That's how to get your fan base going.
Exactly, that was good.
Yeah, I can't see Formula One being comfortable with that impression for their brand.
I thought they were trying to get the US audience on board. That's how you do it. Right?
Maybe they should do a collab or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Hubby, as you mentioned, the very interesting development in regards to Ferrari's kebab rear wing, making memes all over the internet. But we have seen...
Makes me hungry. Jeez. Rolling out the rotisserie.
HSP on the way. Yep.
But we have seen the groundbreaking active aerodynamic innovation from Ferrari, whereby, and this is where we start to see that innovation interpretation of the rules. If we look at the teams, a lot of the teams have opted for essentially a DRS type flap opening, which increases the slop gaps to reduce the drag. We did see Alpine very early on introduce probably the biggest innovation in the rear wings at the start, which was dropping the wing completely flat. But we have now seen that Ferrari has got a flip of the wing. So essentially, as the car goes into straight mode, the wing rotates, which actually turns the leading edge, so the concave edge, upside down. There's debate as to whether or not it's 180 degrees to 225 or 270 degrees, but essentially creates almost like a aeroplane wing on the back of the car. So what this does is that it actually allows for the drag to be taken away. It also helps with the outwash from the car, but then potentially it creates a little bit of lift as well, so allowing the car to go a lot faster.
Yeah, that was surprising. Like, it was a big shock when they rolled that out, and it can't be a red herring. Like, a hell of a lot of engineering and development has gone into that, and they obviously need to test it before they get to Melbourne. And I guess they figured with 1 or 2 days to go in testing, they're not leaving other teams much time to build a similar model and run it through their wind tunnels. But for all we know, other teams have looked at that solution as well. But yeah, it was fascinating. It completely flips upside down. And the other part I thought that was interesting is when it rotates, it takes half a second or so to rotate right around. So there's going to be a big, that was a guess, but 0.4, it's a big aero disturbance when it rotates, because all the airflow has to reattach to the wing. And then when it flips open, it's like a barge board for a couple of tenths. So, and God knows what it does to the flow behind
I like the
car.
fact that you've now got that innovation from reading the rules and going, okay, well, we can do this. Alpine, they drop their flat. Audi does, they got a smaller gap between it, and the Red Bulls and all that, they have the DRS. But I think it's awesome. We've got 4 different styles of interpretation of the same rule, and how we can get the arrows for our car. I think that's great.
And it's going to be interesting as the season goes along to find out which direction everyone, because they'll all end up roughly the same, depending on who's done it better or who's performing better. So it'd be interesting to see which direction they will end up going.
Probably in a few years eventually. Yeah, but it will be. It'll be fascinating, because this is the sort of thing that as soon as that car rolls out of the garage, 200 engineers in every other Formula One team are like going, oh, quick. Let's go look at
Let's run
this
some
solution.
Get the 3D printer going. Get the 3D printer going.
They caught Andrea, who was actually standing on and looking out at the side and just staring at it. And the thing that I loved most, it was Isaac who was following the car. It was Hamilton's car as it flipped, and you heard him over the radio go, "Ooh!" So and it was quite off-putting for him because he had no idea what had just happened, and so was trying to just equate it. But this is where, for me, this is the biggest innovation of this year to date. I mean, if you look at Ferrari were one of the teams who focused on the 2026 car the earliest. There was concern around the PU, and so they'd made some changes around that. But the car's strong. The wing innovation is amazing. We've seen it on the exhaust. They've actually put a half plate which actually heats up, which increases downforce as that's heating up. So we're seeing some really innovative stuff from Ferrari, which is not standard Ferrari.
No,
I do wonder though whether it's lamb or chicken.
It's lamb.
I'd take
Could be a
either.
mix.
Or
I'd
it's a
take
mix,
either.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, half and
Oh,
half.
look, either's great. Yeah.
You
They
want to
might-
cook
they
the
might
lamb
change it
longer.
depending on which.
So maybe they do the
okay.
chicken in the sprint race and they do the lamb in the longer race.
So
You
it'll
want
depend
the
on
lamb for the
circuit and
crispy bits
race,
on the
yeah.
top as you cut it off. That's a good bit.
So one other point to say, and Happy did talk about it being a barge board. The other part of this is when it flips back, when it turns into cornering mode, it actually creates a windbreak. So it does become like a parachute, which helps with the braking that takes the pressure off the brakes as they're going into the corner. So it's another added benefit to that as well.
Hmm.
Well, reliability will come into it too. Is it going to work 100% of the time?
Yeah.
Like,
well, if it
mechanically, they could have issues.
If it gets stuck on lift and they're in the corner, they're in a world of trouble, aren't they?
And there's the extra weight of having the motors and all the gears, to actually turn it around in the end plates for the rear wing there. But it certainly looks very compact, and when they used it on the track, it looked very sturdy and stable. It didn't look wobbly or loose or like it was going to flip off at all. So yeah, it was fascinating to see. So I'm very keen to see. We all presume they'll roll out with that in Melbourne, and that's their race wing. So let's see what they do with it. Let's see what they do with it.
Now, Happy, you did mention sprint races, and I hadn't put this in the notes, but we have seen that there has been a meeting in regards to the power units, and so there has been a initial decision made that they'll be looking to get the power unit compression ratio resolved, and so therefore we'll need to have the compression of 16:1 as opposed to 18:1 from 30 degrees. And so now they do have 10 days for the teams to debate that and come back as to whether or not they agree or don't agree. So we're expecting to see that outcome in the next couple of days. But also with that, Stefano was able to slip in the increase to the number of sprint races and proposing that for next year. So seeing sprint races increasing to 12 for the 2027 season.
sorry, who voted for that?
Apparently, the fans and the promoters really want it.
I think the event promoters like it because it's another race and it's something else they can increase ticket values for.
I reckon it's going to be a real challenge in a year of new regs and teams needing all the practices they can get before a race to get things right. I think this is really going to be a bit of a thorn in their side.
Well, it's a big challenge then. Yeah, you just got to turn up. You get one practice session and away you go. Yeah,
off you go.
I mean, yay, sprint races, yay. Sorry.
Who knows? They might be better this year. There might be more overtakes. We don't know. We'll see.
Sprint races with a compulsory pit stop. The driver has to get up and run around the car and jump back in. And
well, look, at least with 12 sprint races, Hamilton might win a race.
Or two.
Or two. Yeah, he might get two now.
Well, if Ferrari's going to win the championship, he needs to win a couple of these. So, he's got to Got to pull his weight somewhere.
So with that, any other major call-outs we wanted to discuss before we went into our head-to-head predictions, team?
Just to clarify, before we start that, you did correct the garbage positions that you tried to give me last week has been corrected. Just want to clarify that?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Locked in.
Don't worry, we took care of it
We
for you.
wouldn't do that.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
I saw. Don't worry. I
You can-
saw.
You can trust us.
Oh, yeah.
One
No.
thing I've noticed out of all the racing here in the Bahrain testing is it feels to me like McLaren's been very quiet on things. I haven't really. A lot of other teams have been talking and stuff's been going on, and it feels like McLaren have just, I don't know,
They're just
flying
going
under
about
the
their
radar a bit.
business.
Yeah,
Dark horse, maybe. I don't know.
dark horse. I mean,
Yeah, they're going to come up from
Well,
behind. Yeah.
Yeah,
They haven't come out with any
They've got a
fancy,
lot to
weird
prove.
innovations or
It's a
anything like that. But,
papaya-coloured dark horse, Dan, if that helps.
but the comments from the drivers were interesting. They like Oscar was quite positive after all their testing. So I get the impression they think they're in a pretty good place.
I feel like this year is going to be very much a driver's race. Like, as in the good drivers will manage it,
Make the difference.
and the ones
Yep.
that, I think, regardless of the cars, I think the drivers who will be able to adapt to the new way of doing things and get every bit of energy and power out of their cars will win or be at the front.
I think you're right, Dan. I think it's going to become a lot more of a driver than the cars themselves. So you'll actually find out who can drive. So
Mhm.
Verstappen will be good.
Yep.
Russell.
Yep.
You'll have Piastri and
The other
I
one.
think
the guy that won last year.
Ancelotti.
That one.
Oh, Norris.
Oh, that world champion.
What's his name? It doesn't matter. Some British guy. But I think you'll find that they will actually be more prominent because of the fact it's about driving the car, not necessarily just coasting.
And I think conversely, this is going to really rattle a lot of other drivers that can't manage it so well.
I would agree with you, Dan. Good call.
Had something smart to say. There you go.
Yeah,
Who would have thought?
very good.
So
He's gone early for the season.
Oh, thanks, ChatGTP.
tick.
Write me something
So
clever to say.
We've almost completed our head-to-head predictions. We've got 2 more to go next week, but we've got another 3 for this week, and we're going to start off with Haas Toyota Gazoo Racing. So you can see on the left there, Esteban Ocon, number 31 from Evreux in Normandy. Sorry, I didn't put the accent on there. Now, Esteban joined F1 in 2017. He's had 180 races to date with 483 career points. He has had 1 win, and 25 DNFs. Now, Esteban started with Force India, but had to move to a reserve driver for Mercedes after he needed to make room for Lance Stroll, as Lawrence bought Force India. He then joined Renault in 2020, just before it became Alpine, where there were head-to-head battles with him and his fellow countryman, Pierre Gasly. The team wasn't big enough for the two of them, so we saw Esteban, who has now gone and joined Haas for last year. Joining him on the other side, we've got Ollie Behrman, number 87 from Chelmsford in England, joining F1 in 2024. He's had 27 races in total with 48 career points from last year. His highest position, which he achieved twice, was P8 and has had 3 DNFs. Now, this is the Ferrari prodigy who debuted in Saudi Arabia in 2024, where he filled in for Carlos Sainz, who had an appendicitis. So as we look at this head-to-head team, what are our thoughts? Who are we going to back?
Gee, Esteban's been bumped around a bit, hasn't he? Wow. Have we got
cutting
things?
his teeth, Dan? Cutting his teeth. It's all right.
Cutting his teeth, yeah. Have we got points on the line for this thing? Is this part of our? We sure
Yes.
do. Oh, well, I'll go for Ollie then. I need a few extra points. I don't think he'll do it, but he might be the dark horse, so I'll back Ollie.
I'm going Ocon.
I think Ollie's had a year of learning, and I think he might give Esteban a run this year, so I'm going to pick Ollie Behrman as well.
Oh, no. Following down the dark hole. Goodness me. Okay.
And similarly, I'm backing Ollie as well. Being that Ferrari prodigy, he's looking for a seat because there could be a seat that becomes available in 2027, and Ollie's going to want to show that he's definitely able to earn that seat.
Jeez, I
All
can't believe
right,
the three of you
so
got that wrong again. Amazing. Oh, jeez.
We're
look,
gonna
it's much
change
better
your
than your
answer.
predictions
No,
from
we can't
last week,
change your
Lockie.
answer. Yeah.
Well, at least I got to put them in this time, so yeah.
So speaking of Ferrari, we then move to the Scuderia. So Ferrari, on the left-hand side, we've got Charles Leclerc, number 16 from Monte Carlo in Monaco, so Monegasque, joined F1 in 2018 and has had 171 races under his belt with 1,672 career points. He's achieved P1 27 times in his career so far with 23 DNFs. So now, Charles famously told his father on his deathbed that he had got into Formula One, which he hadn't at the time, because it was his father's dying wish to be able to for his son to be in Formula One, which was very emotional when he did win the Monaco Grand Prix, the greatest Grand Prix in the calendar. So,
Lucky he did make it.
Which
Jeez.
which
Otherwise it was a
calendar?
pretty big lie. God.
that's a lot of guilt to carry around
Oh,
with you for
yeah,
the rest
mate,
of your
that's-
life.
Plenty.
Guilt, Schmel.
Plenty.
It's interesting to see like the difference that between Ocon and Leclerc when you look at it and go similar amount of race starts and just the career points difference between the two of them. When you look at the starts, you're like, okay, yep.
That's why Leclerc's driving for Ferrari.
Well, this could explain significantly why it's there.
What to slow down his points haul?
Yeah, don't get away from yourself. No,
Easy,
I mean,
Tiger.
he has committed to Ferrari, and I mean, you've got to love it. That loyalty, we hope will get paid off very shortly. So it could be this year, Happy, as you and I both predict Ferrari to be world champions.
Well,
Oh, have you written
We'll
that down
see.
already? Okay, it's recorded now.
it
Good.
backfired on me last year.
You heard it first.
So alongside Chuck is Sir Lewis Hamilton, number 44 from Stevenage in England. He joined in 2007 and has had a total of 380 races with 5,018 and a half career points, achieving first 105 times with 34 DNFs. This is our 7-time world champion, so who shifted to Ferrari, wanting to get one more world championship in the red, to be the greatest driver of all time.
Yeah, I think Leclerc's going to come out on top. Based on
No, that
watching
was a
Lewis
se-
race last
There
night.
you go.
That was a serious answer, Christian. He wasn't joking.
No, seriously, I'm tipping Leclerc to knock off Hamilton again this year.
Lewis really improved the back half of last year, and he's 7-time world champion. He's got a new girlfriend allegedly. He's got his fashion going on. Like things are going well for him.
But it's easy to improve when you start at 20th. You can make yourself up to 10th pretty easily. Like that's a fairly easy way to improve. So
Yeah.
He won a sprint race last year,
woohoo!
and there's going to be more of those coming.
Oh yeah, can't wait.
I think it's difficult to go past Lewis, but I'm going to go past him and pick Leclerc as well.
Really struggled on that, Happy. Good
I
job.
just don't think he's quite. I don't think he's quite got the fire anymore. And you just saw that in his frustration last year. And I reckon it'd only take 3 or 4 races for Leclerc to pip him in quali and to maybe outdrive him in a race, and that's it.
Maybe
This
that
will be his last
done.
year or two. Yeah, that'll be it.
I'm with you, boys. I'm going for Chuck for this year as well. How about yourself, Schrags?
If Ferrari have got this car right, and that's yet to be seen, Lewis is gonna do it.
Right.
I'm going Lulu.
Okay.
Lulu. Oh yeah.
All right.
He's going to win and he's going to retire.
You can probably rip through this next one fairly quickly. I'm
Mic
pretty
drop.
sure I know the answer to who we're all going to pick.
So from the prancing horse to the raging bull, we go to Red Bull with Max Verstappen.
Blah blah blah. Yeah. We look.
All those raise your hand. Who's Max Verstappen is going to be in. Thank you very much.
Is he the rookie?
Which one's the rookie?
I mean, to be fair, Christian hasn't even put a racing ball suit on, Isaac. He's just stuck him up there in a black top.
No, that's from Formula One. They haven't even done it yet. So, I mean, they're determining as to whether or not he's going to stay in the team.
That's what I mean. They haven't even given him a chance to stay there. He's on the outer.
They haven't even got a suit on him. They're prepared. They're prepared for him to get ejected from that other second.
He's going ninja mode.
I think
that's right, stealth.
We can all agree that this is probably Red Bull's second driver's best chance of getting closer to Max Verstappen. Like new regs, new car, same platform. Max has probably had a lot more input already into the development of the car, but Isaac's done well. Like hopefully he'll be a lot closer to Max than some of his predecessors.
Is that because they haven't chiseled the Red Bull car to suit Max? Yet,
maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, that team's been built around Max for a long time, so he's very comfortable there, and he's got a good engineering team there, and he's got good support, and he is, besides all that, probably the world's best motorsport driver, full stop at the moment. So it's very hard to go past Max.
Yeah. And look, the challenge for Isaac as well in regards to that is that he has not had a lot of time in the car over the last few days. Spent a lot of time on the sidelines this week. So Max has had some time in there. But yeah, so that will be a challenge. So Max all-round team?
Yep.
to my point earlier, Max is going to be the driver that's going to nail how to use these cars this year, how to manage battery and gears and everything. He'll figure it out.
Smart. Yeah.
It'll take a couple of rounds, but he will sort himself out very quickly.
Yeah.
We've already seen that through testing, Max has been driving the car differently to the other drivers with the double downshifting, with some revving into corners and the like. He's already playing with it and doing things that other teams or drivers haven't even thought about. So now whether or not that's also playing with the other drivers for them to go, oh, hang on, should we be doing this a little bit differently? Some of the pundits have been suggesting that might be the case. But yeah, Max will definitely drive the car the way the car needs to be driven.
Well, as long as they don't follow Colapinto down the straight and try and do some 11s and almost put it in the wall, that's probably a better way to drive the car.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, only one episode for this week as we get ready for our preview of the Australian Grand Prix. So look, for our viewers and listeners, would love for your thoughts in regards to what you're interested in us talking about as we come into that. We do have our prediction preparation, so we will be picking our 1 to 11 in regards to the Constructors' Championship. We will be picking the top 10
1 to 10
drivers.
Yeah, all those for Aston at the bottom.
1 to 10, Aston Martin at the bottom.
The dark horse. We've decided we're not going to do the full 22 on the grid. We're only going to do the top 10. But to spice things up, we are going to give a point for everyone that gets it right in the top 10. But if your driver falls outside of the top 10, you lose 2 points.
Ouch.
Geez, Dan, you and I are in the negative, mate. We're going to struggle on that one.
So please, getting any points to start with.
You'd be washing dishes
for our viewers, we're really interested. If you've got another idea in regards to some points that we could be battling for, that'd be fantastic. The more points, the better.
Actually, if you've got any good ideas on how I can get more points, I'd really appreciate that for any of the listeners.
Maybe take it out of a top hat. Maybe be fancy that way.
Maybe don't pull names out of a random
bigger
hat.
Maybe it needs to be a Ferrari hat.
Maybe you need like a dartboard or something. We need some other
spinning wheel with a dartboard.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're talking.
And
a flaming one. We could have health hazard galore here. This could be great.
Spinning wheel dartboard. This is good.
It's all coming
together.
Yeah.
All right, this is quality content coming up.
So be sure to tune in next week as we see Schwags burn down his studio as he decides who's going to win.
I'd tune in for that.
So with that, we'll look forward to seeing everyone next week, and we'll see you on the next lap.